Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, we had so much fun and so much success during the first watch party of preseason week 1 against the 49ers. We're going to run it back this week, Friday night, Chiefs versus Cardinals. Mark your calendar, subscribe to the channel. Do not miss our live watch party as we will have a live scoreboard, play-by-play, stat updates, and everything else happening between the Chiefs and the Cardinals on Friday night. Hit that big red button and we will see you then. But on today's video, we have some news to get into with some roster cuts. Welcome into the Kansas City Chiefs Report. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. We have some news coming down as the NFL cut-down period from 90 to 85 players is today, and Kansas City has already made their roster moves to get down to 85 players. They've cut 4 players, plus they also placed Elijah McGuire on IR, which ends his season because any players placed on IR before the rosters are trimmed down to 53 must be or are ineligible for the remainder of the season. So he will not play this year. 4 cuts and then McGuire on IR. You do that math from 90 to 85 and you are good to go. So this is the first cut down day over the next couple of weeks. Teams go from 90 to 85 today. Next Tuesday, August 24th, the Chiefs and every other team will have to cut 5 more players to get down to 80. And then the big one, of course, a week after that, August 31st, 53-man roster. So you'll have to go all the way down from 80 to 53. So these are just the first of many tough decisions that Andy Reid and Brett Veach will have to make over the next couple of weeks. Hey, this is a tough day in the NFL. A lot of these guys are fighting for their careers, and they don't want to see it come to an end. So like the video, show some love, show some support to the guys getting cut today, because this is not easy for those guys. This is their livelihood. Hit that thumbs up icon to show your support. All right, let's break down each of the cuts so far up to this point. Antonio Callaway, the receiver, and I got to tell you, I'm a little bit surprised he's gone so soon. I did not think he would make this final 53-man roster in Kansas City, but this is a guy who's had some success. Now, he's had off-the-field issues in the past. He's had suspensions dating back to his time at the University of Florida, but he's produced at times in his young NFL career. Did some good things with the Cleveland Browns as a rookie. Has 700 yards and 5 touchdowns in just a couple of seasons in the National Football League. I didn't expect he'd make this team, but I thought he was for sure a prime practice squad candidate. And if you're on the initial cuts, you're not going to make the practice squad. So I thought this was very surprising. Obviously, the Chiefs have a ton of wide receivers. It was going to be tough for him, but to be in this initial cut-down group, I was a little bit surprised to see Callaway go so soon. How about you guys? Were you surprised to see Callaway get cut already? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know in the comments. Like I said, I'm fairly surprised. Didn't think he'd make the 53, but thought he would actually make it until those final cuts, but he doesn't even make it through the first round of cuts. Y for yes, N for no. Another receiver, Chad Williams, he is gone. Less surprising here. Less of a name, less experience and capability here, as he also is on the chopping block for the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at what they have at receiver, I mean, they still have 12, 13 guys on this roster. So, I mean, there's going to be more decisions to make, but those top 4 are all set. Tyreek Hill, Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle. Cornell Powell will make this team, I assume, the rookie out of Clemson. Marcus Kemp has had a good camp. That's 6 guys right there. Jody Fortson, who's playing receiver and tight end. He's kind of converted, actually, but lots of guys on this roster at wide receiver. So obviously some were going to have to get cut because the Chiefs just have so many of these guys. But a little more surprised on the Callaway front than I am on the Chad Williams front. So we'll see what the future holds for both of those guys. Doesn't appear that their futures will be with the Kansas City Chiefs, barring something unforeseen in the future for Chad Williams and for Antonio Callaway. So those are your first 2 cuts. We have a couple more to get to in a second. But first, today's sponsor is BetUS. You can gamble on the Chiefs all season long, and it's not gambling if you know the right betting tips. Go to chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Got to use that link to get our promo code Chiefs125. Make some money throughout the NFL preseason. Hey, I told you about the Chiefs against the 49ers as underdogs. There was money to be made there. Chiefs are actually favorites this time at Arizona. It's preseason. I kind of like Arizona. You want to make some money? I would bet the Cardinals on this one. Chatsports.com/ChiefsBet. Use that promo code Chiefs125. Make some money throughout the NFL preseason. Okay, Evan Baylis next up here, the tight end has been cut. So Kansas City loses a couple of tight ends in the last week or so. Nick Keiser retired, and now they have cut Evan Baylis. This is a good sign for Jody Fortson, who we briefly mentioned a second ago, has converted to tight end. That's a good sign for him to still be in the mix after Baylis gets cut loose, because you've got Travis Kelce, Blake Bell, Noah Gray, the rookie out of Duke, and then Jody Fortson, who it's still an uphill battle. He'll have to convince the Chiefs to carry 4 tight ends, but if he performs well enough, they could do that and go maybe one less at receiver, since he's played some receiver in the past as well. So I think it's a good sign for him. Obviously not a great sign for Evan Baylis. Played in 5 games last year in the NFL, but was not going to make it here in Kansas City. But for Jody Fortson, definitely a good sign as he tries to find a path to the 53-man roster. Quick reminder, Chiefs vs. Cardinals watch party on Friday night. Kickoff at 7 o'clock Central Time. We'll go live probably 6:45 Central, 7:45 Eastern, something like that. Get you ready for kickoff, and then, of course, we'll have live play-by-play and a scoreboard throughout the entire game. Subscribe. Don't miss any of the action on Friday night. Okay, one more here. Manny Patterson, the defensive back, was playing mostly corner. Has some value as a return man and a gunner, but the Chiefs have better options on special teams, and if that's where his main forte was going to be, he just wasn't going to make it, because obviously Kansas City is very deep in their secondary as well. L'Jarius Sneed, Charvarius Ward, they should be your 2 outside corners. Mike Hughes has had a good camp. He's going to start at nickel, it looks like. Rashad Fenton has performed well as well. Bo Peep Keys, you've got DeAndre Baker. There's too many defensive backs. It just wasn't going to work for Manny Patterson in the secondary, and he was going to have to really show out as a returner if he was going to stick as purely a special teams guy. And when you got guys like McCole Hardman, you don't need Manny Patterson to stick on board as one of your punt returners. So he moves on. They cut him loose as well. And then the final roster move here, you're at 86 after the 4 cuts to get down to 85. Elijah McGuire, as we mentioned, placed on injured reserve, suffered an ankle injury against the 49ers. He is not eligible to return this season, been banged up in recent years. I don't think this was a season-ending injury. This is an IR stash, though. The Chiefs said, oh, well, he got injured against the 49ers, and he wasn't going to make our roster, so let's just IR stash him and place him on injured reserve. He can make his earn his paycheck throughout the season and not get released. It's a win-win for both parties involved, and he can get back after it next offseason and on into the preseason for 2022. He was not going to make this roster. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Darrell Williams, Jerick McKinnon, Darwin Thompson, all ahead of him. I think he was ahead of Derek Gore, but still, you're not going to carry 5 running backs, especially since the Chiefs will carry a fullback in Michael Burton. So IR stash, he makes his money. It's a win-win at the end of the day. Before we sign off, shout out your favorite Chiefs player currently, not all time, currently on the roster. Yes, you can cheat and say Patrick Mahomes. I know that's the obvious answer. Let us know who your favorite player is, and we will see you next time, including on Friday night for the watch party on the Chiefs Report.